packaging ChatGPT's product into the market and trying to sell it to business owners. And it can get overwhelming. So I wanted to just start off by kind of getting a poll of the room. When you think about artificial intelligence, what are some things that come to mind for you?
People cheating on their homework. I've been using it to create business plans, trying to come up with concepts or ideas for an event, so kind of putting in information and using it to get information out. It can be intimidating, I think, but I like what I've been doing so far, but I'd like to learn a lot more.
Yeah, what else things?
I think that's a great question, because I think everyone has their own definition of what it is. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at. As far as when I think AI, I think something that can self-correct and teach itself and learn on the fly. Essentially, a software-based platform that can basically grow and mature through usage. Maybe is a good general definition of what I look at as AI.
Sure. Anybody else? All right. Well, in order to understand AI in a very deep level, we need to understand where it originated from. So AI simply defined as machines that learn and think like humans using data to make smart decisions autonomously. So can a machine take in new data, assess it, and then improve itself? That's essentially one of the core functionalities of artificial intelligence. It's two parts. One is machine learning, data that's coming in, cognitive function, things that are being processed and changed and adapted to the product.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
If somebody import the information into a database, how do the machines get the information?
So typically, it's a little bit more complex of an answer, but I'll try and make it as clear as mud. Essentially what happens is there's a back-end process, like an algorithm, that accepts data that's being inputted into the system. And as that data intensifies and grows, those algorithms or protocols that are developed in the system take it in, assess it, make changes, and then better the product. So for example, with ChatGPT, usually when you try and search historical things, it caps right now as September of 2021, because that's as far as its database
Oh,
is
okay, that's
expanding for
interesting.
users. And that's for most historical things. Like if you go to ChatGPT and say, hey, what are the best 10 AI tools for small businesses? It'll say, my database only goes to September of 2021, but here are the results as of that particular date. So as new data sets come into the program and it's categorized and whoever's overseeing the layout of that information improves it, then it will be rolled out to more users. And there you have ChatGPT 4.
I was going to say, does that apply? That date range that?
It does not. It's
ChatGPT 4, it does not.
It does not. 3.5 is where the cap is for the September date right now. And it's going to keep changing. So the best thing, I love your ringtone, Pat. One of my favorites.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. One thing that is to keep in mind, and this is what we've done at our agency, is developing principles, things that we can keep in place to make sure that we're using AI in the most ethical way possible. Because systems are going to keep changing. You might move from ChatGPT to Bard AI. You might change how you're getting data, but how you use that data ought to stay the same. So I wanted to talk about Alan Turing for a minute, because this is someone who I think history has largely forgotten about, sadly. Alan Turing was a British mathematician. He was critical to the World War II effort, breaking codes that helped defeat Nazi Germany. And he spoke on machine learning for computers as early as 1947, which is pretty astonishing to think about as we're in 2023 and wrestling with all the developments of AI. And he also developed this Turing test that helps distinguish between computers that have AI capabilities and ones that do not. And the best way to understand this test that he did was he said, suppose a computer's having a conversation, and he was giving an example like a chatbot. Obviously this is 1950 at this time, so chatbots did not exist. But he was saying if a computer was having a conversation with a person, would that person be able to detect that it's a computer? That litmus test is what he categorized as artificial intelligence, being able to have those capabilities or not. So that simple conversation test, and this is what a lot of AI professionals have based their software around, the realism of how a machine talks back either through text or voice form. So it's pretty amazing, almost 80 years later, we're still using this particular system. And obviously there's been a lot that's been built on top of it. So I wanted to talk for a minute about ethical standards because there's a lot of things that people can use AI for in a very dishonest, disingenuous way. You brought up plagiarism. People submitting things, so give me 1,000 words on President Washington's origins, right? They take it, copy, paste, put their name on it, maybe change a dash or a period here and there and pass it off on their own. And now there's I will say, a counter movement in AI to be able to detect what type of verbiage is coming from AI and which one is human generated. And that is a very difficult thing to do, I would say. So at the agency, what we've done is we have 5 main ways that we try to approach artificial intelligence in an ethical fashion. Number 1 is transparency. Do you have measures in place for how you're using AI? Is that published somewhere? What tools are you using and how are you using them? The second thing is privacy. What a lot of people don't recognize, and I'm really glad tools like ChatGPT and Bard have gotten a lot better on this. Anything that you put into that AI system, they own, they can use in their system. So if you're saying, hey, sort all of these social security numbers in order, they have all of that information. So you need to be very thoughtful about what exactly it is you're putting into your AI system. So if you're trying to use it for, payroll management, or you're trying to get data for, an employee's benefit program, and you're putting all that into the system, that's all things that you're turning over to the software. Next is quality control. So for us, we do a lot of content writing, a lot of websites, all that jazz, and there's a lot of content that goes into the system that we have to review, come out, rewrite. So quality control matters. Are you actually proofreading what's coming out of the system? Are you changing it to match, its intended purpose? The other thing is it's not a replacement for humans. One of the things that I get questioned on a fair bit when I'm talking with really anybody about in the tech space is the fear that AI is going to replace humans. I think AI is going to replace humans in the same fashion that the assembly line replaced workers at Ford. Those workers are going to have different jobs. It's going to look a little bit different, but it's going to open up more opportunities for people to be able to use this system and manage it more effectively. If anything, it's a tool that needs to be properly managed, which means there's going to be more jobs that come from AI than AI takes from the marketplace. In time, we'll bear that out to see if that's going to happen or not. And the next thing is you cannot get behind on new processes in AI. So if artificial intelligence doesn't stop learning, you shouldn't either. So what are new tools that are in the marketplace that are available for your business? I spend a lot of my time helping businesses automate their systems towards implementing things like AI so they have more time to go and sell their client relations or employee relations. That way they're not doing so much technical work on the back end. I'm going to pause there for a minute. Any thoughts, questions as we've come so far? Good, either I'm doing really good or really bad. We'll see how it goes. So this is something I tell my staff all the time. Building the effort up front and doing an automated process will pay dividends on the back end. Setting up an automated system, whether it's a social media scheduler or like a Calendly relay for sales, it can be a lot of work and effort. So when like JJ runs an agency, you know what that's like to set up automations. But once it's done and you see it working, how much time does that take off your plate?
It does streamlines things.
Absolutely. So when you have those things in place, it can be a ton of work up front, but I'm going to demonstrate a little bit how much time it can save you on the back end. I want to go through workflows. So I'm just curious, does anyone have like a real painful workflow that they have right now that's very manual, you wish it could be automated? Any examples spring to mind?
The farmer's market. Okay, done. Can't get John now.
We're going to use AI to replace you at the farmer's market. That'd be good.
Kidding.
I would say probably the most common one is how small businesses accept new business into their organization. So I've built 2 workflows here, and I want to walk through each one. The first workflow is manual. So someone goes to your website, fills out a form, goes to your salesperson, they follow up via email, they might call. They both review their calendars to set an appointment. They might exchange a few emails as they're trying to lock in the date. The salesperson annotates the information from the system and adds it to their CRM, whether it's in Excel or something a little more classy. The salesperson sends the calendar invite, and then 24 hours before the meeting, they have to manually send another calendar invite. Does anyone sympathize with that?
This is my
workflow?
I am a property manager for the new apartments they're building by Marv's, and that's literally my day, every day, all day. And then they come in for a tour, and I'm filling out a piece of paper, and then I'm entering in the piece of paper with all of the notes into the system, and then scheduling the follow-ups. It's all manual, and it's such a pain. It takes so much
There's a
time.
better way. I want to go through this second workflow, and this is one that we use in-house. Basically, a lead fills out the form on the website. It's collected and simultaneously added into our CRM. On submission, the lead is then given a link to schedule a meeting. That calendar is linked to whoever the salesperson's calendar is, and they can pick a time that works well for them. It not only books that calendar meeting, but it also sets a reminder in the system to send out automatically. And then the salesperson simply has to review the meeting, review the notes, and just prepare. On average, it's about 15 minutes of discovery per lead versus 2 hours per lead. This is one process. That's 2.5 working weeks per year that one process saves. And this is a real life case study that we've done at the agency. So we know that automations and workflows can be extremely impactful for small businesses. So again, this is one workflow across one salesperson. If you have 5 salespeople, that's nearly a third of a year in labor you're saving through a workflow. Pretty wild. Top use cases for small businesses. I thought this might be appropriate to know a lot of you guys in this marketplace have, you're either growing or you've hit a point where now you're trying to merge with AI and figure out what the best way to move forward is. So number one, the thing I think I implement and recommend the most is a tool called Calendly. So it's an extremely powerful tool. There's a lot of other tools that do this in the marketplace, but Calendly can do things like, in that workflow that I had mentioned, take care of scheduling all of the leads that are coming in. So if you have tours, they can set up the tour, they can book it, it gives them a reminder. And you can also do things like we have a company where there's 10 salespeople and they have leads that are coming in. Well, how do you determine which salesperson gets the lead? Well, it does a round robin. So it remembers who got the last one and who's currently available. So it'll cycle through those salespeople without you having to pick and choose where leads are going. Extremely effective for realtors, for car sales, anything in that marketplace. ChatGPT and Bard AI. Has anyone used one or both of these tools before? Show of hands. How many people have used Bard? Cool. All right. Does anyone have a preference on which one they like more?
I just keep using ChatGPT because that's what I have bookmarks.
Yeah. Understood. The link isn't the most easy to remember either.
No.
So we use both. I've used both. I preference ChatGPT a little bit more. The outputs are a lot better. You can get really creative with what you ask ChatGPT to do. They can build charts that you can export, graphs. There's a lot of really interesting things that you can use AI for to help go through data. For example, I put about 10,000 records into ChatGPT and had it organize it in a chart by name, like name of the company, the website, all of that, and it sorted through it and spit out a chart and said, hey, this is the exact order it should be in. I don't have to go and do those manual processes anymore. So there's a lot of benefits that you can use AI tool for, much more than just asking it a simple question. Social media schedulers are huge for small businesses, things like Zoho Social and later. Not only will it help you schedule the social media, but it'll analyze all the data that you have previously and tell you what the best time to post is predictively. It'll give you insights into what hashtags to use based on which ones are currently trending on platforms. So there's a lot of AI that's baked into these schedulers that can help with social media efforts. There's a newer tool, Lavender AI, which is used for content writing. Used it a little bit. It shows a lot of promise. There's a lot of add-ons to this tool that I can see being very helpful for small business owners, whether you're trying to write publications, email marketing, newsletters, whatever it may be, can give you a really good direction to go in. And on that point, that's something that I encourage a lot of people on my team to use AI for. It's excellent for a starting point, excellent to give you ideas. I need 20 social media reels on business consulting. that are 60 seconds each. Give me some ideas, and they'll spit out a list of 20 ideas, and I can take those 20 and modify them based on my company. It's really, yeah, go ahead, yes.
So, a further question on that with content writing, you know, we talked about, you know, plagiarism, you know, a kid writing paper, but is there a concern for plagiarism when you are pulling information from that?
Absolutely.
I used to be in communications, so.
No, there's several concerns, and I think plagiarism is, for a business owner, plagiarism probably isn't the biggest concern from like a legal perspective, but I'll say there's a bigger concern, which is dropping your Google rankings by using AI generated content. And what I mean by that is Google's algorithm has performed 3 major updates since last year. The first one was in October, the last one was in March, they just finished up the last one in September. I've seen all the websites that I have eyes on skyrocket, the ones that have personal data that is content built around the brand. People that are using blog farms, so there might be a legal firm that has, you know, they get 10 blogs a month and 100 other attorneys are getting those blogs. Those websites dropped by a rate of about 50% in organic traffic because Google's now detecting what's coming from AI, what's repurposed content and what's not. So I would say my point is, when I do content writing, I might put in the blog topic to ChatGPT and it'll give me ideas, it'll give me bullet points. We take that as inspiration and write on top of it. Never ever, like in our ethical procedure, which is about 10 pages long, one of the standards in there is we never copy from AI and move it into a production system. It's against policy for us because it's so careless. And it can drop not only SEO, it can be from a plagiarism perspective. You don't know where that data is coming from. So it needs to be sourced, researched, revetted, rewritten. All those things are really important. So that's a tremendous point you brought up there.
What I typically do is I have a piece of content from one of my engineers, like a case study, and then I'll throw it into ChatGPT to rewrite it for an article, or rewrite it for a social post, or rewrite it to just word it better.
Yeah.
So that's one way around it.
Yeah. And it's a progressive system as well. So what some people miss sometimes is you can put a prompt into those systems, and you can say, okay, now make it more casual. It'll understand what you mean by now make the last thing I just told you more casual. Make it funny, put a joke in there. You know, do something, you know, it can continue the conversation on that particular thread.
Its jokes are horrible.
Very terrible, absolutely. There's no stand-up comedians making careers off stand-up jokes on ChatGPT. Yeah.
I just have a question. You number 2 and number 4, you have ChatGPT, Bard, and Lavender. I typically use ChatGPT or Bard for content writing or creation. What's the difference between Lavender and AI?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with Lavender.
No, that's fine. That's a good question. There's a lot more things baked into it, like plagiarism, grammar, and also trends. So there might be particular topics that are trending that Lavender will alert you to that ChatGPT just doesn't have built in.
Okay.
ChatGPT is very A/B, where Lavender has a lot more peripheral tools that'll help the writing process, you know, perform much better.
Okay, appreciate that. Good information.
And I would imagine, I don't know this for certain, but I would imagine that Lavender AI's content writing software is built on ChatGPT. They just have other peripheral
That's quite possible. Then it's add on other peripherals.
Exactly. So it's just repackaged.
This may be a really dumb question, but so if I write something and then upload it, then that's then available to everybody else who you said that, you know, your information that you upload is into those systems.
If you upload it into ChatGPT,
Yeah,
is it
into
available?
into Lavender or whatever. Then do they own that data and then they can then just take it and distribute it on further?
They don't own it. It's just going to go into the machine learning process for how things are written, different topics. Typically, what most of their data is built on is search engines and existing website content, not things that are coming into the system. I would imagine, though, as the database builds and grows, it's going to be not only what's on Google search, what's on websites, but also what's been entered into the system. So it's really too early to tell how they're going to use all that information.
I was just like, because in my world, in the acupuncture world, you know, there are people trying to elevate the conversation around that instead of, you know, whenever anybody writes about it, they have the same old type of story. So, like, can I influence that? You know?
Yeah.
So when I write, then we'll.
In some ways, especially if it's on website content, why not? It'll certainly influence, you know, some of the results that come back through the system for sure.
Okay.
Lastly, and this to me is a foundation, it's a cornerstone, whatever you want to call it, for small businesses, but project management tools and CRMs. Make no mistake about it, if you're a business, you're a data company, you're a media company, it doesn't matter what you're doing, what you're in, if your ability to leverage the data that you have coming in your doors can be a very good predictor of your success. So are you maintaining an email marketing list? Is it being vetted? Do you have project management tools that helps with workflows and automations and employee onboarding? All of those things can be really vital. And the two tools that I mentioned here, ClickUp and HubSpot, both use predictive AI in a lot of the processes that are on the softwares. They even have templates that are set up for people that are just getting into the space. Saying, okay, I need just some direction here to figure out where to go or how to set up a particular workflow for social media or one-on-ones with my employees or onboarding a new team member. There's a lot of things in this particular process that can help organize a business, and it's all leveraged with AI. So I wanted, before we get into the open discussion, I have a few prompts for you guys, but I wanted to show you something. And JJ, you may have seen this, you and I are both in the graphic design game, but there's a regenerative photo editing that's come to Adobe Photoshop, where you can basically take an awful picture, draw a circle, and say, hey, build a wall, make this grass green, make the sky better. And back in the day, you'd have to go and manually change layers and update everything in Photoshop. Now it's much different. So I want to show you a video, and we'll see how the audio works. I've never used audio here. And I want you to tell me whether or not you can spot what's been edited in this process. That was the original photo. Everything else was added to it using the regenerative tool and Photoshop.
This here is the original?
That's the original.
Wow.
And everything else
And you're
is-
saying AI did all the other stuff?
Yep.
How does AI do it? You probably already just said that.
What's that?
How does AI do it? I just wanted to.
The short answer is I don't know.
Actually, as a realtor, I'm seeing this in listings all the time now. It's the norm.
It's one of my least favorite trends, by the way, with houses that have an abundance of light pouring through the windows.
Yep.
Not a fan.
It's a telltale sign. It took me about 2 days to figure out that was
Yeah,
digitally enhanced.
you'll know it when you see it.
Yep.
But a lot of it is creating layers and separations in one image, and then typically what you're doing is it's command line prompts. So you might circle the area on the side of the house and say, add a nice bench here, and then it'll place it there. And then add a stream, add a sky, and you'll circle what areas you want it to modify. But how it works on the back end, out of my league.
Back end, I'm so curious about it.
I know it, I am as well. Definitely. So there's so much on this topic for small businesses. I want to leave some time at the end just to talk about ways that AI might be able to help your company, things that you may or may not be struggling with. So we can start with that.
I got one, so that'd be great for, so we're retail, wholesale, and we do, so I actually just recently heard of this, and I don't even know, but I think it's awesome when you get like texts or feedback, say, hey, give us certain feedback, or if you're, like the service or anything like that. I just recently heard one about it on the radio, about a guy that the weekend prior, he had ordered a pizza, and then it was the next weekend, he says, hey, last weekend you ordered this pizza, this size, whatever like that. Reply why to order it now.
Yeah.
what tools do you know of that would be that could
So for text lead generation like that, I'm not sure.
email or anything?
So HubSpot has capabilities for purchasing
Okay.
decisions that you can go and recycle lists.
Okay.
There's a ton, even in the service industry, Service Titan has things like that where you can place orders and then you can go and retarget the customer for another order through their platform. That's baked into a lot of major CRMs and pipeline style companies like
Okay.
that. But it's fantastic, and it can be somewhat annoying sometimes as well.
You can be.
It can be over the top, and that's why like geofencing is something that's very popular in marketing, but I think it's going by the wayside because it's so intrusive. Oh hey, you're at Kohl's. Let me send you a 10% coupon. I noticed that you're there. It's like I don't want you to notice that I'm there.
Or even like when you're using like Waze or something and you want to be able to stop by and it'll prompt you for that fast food restaurant next to you.
Yeah.
You're like, coffee.
Yeah, because you can sponsor ads on maps now, which is pretty wild. So what else? What other questions do you guys have, or things that you want to discuss?
So what is your favorite, because for me, marketing is my most difficult task. You know, I have like lists of Facebook groups and, you know, all these different lists, all these different calendars, you know, and a lot of them are local, you know, because we're fairly local in what we do, we just sell tickets. We're always trying to find avenues to get in front of more people. Our database, our email list is great, our people always come, but we want new people, and that's always my biggest challenge. So which one, I mean, I've looked at a few different, like HubSpot and different things, which one is the most simple for a small business? It's really, it is hyper-local, I mean, we are.
And what are you trying to accomplish?
Lead generation?
Lead generation, yeah, more people, you know, butts in seats at events, and new people.
Yeah, there's several good options. If you're looking specifically from the email marketing CRM side, I like HubSpot because there's a lot of things you can add to it. You can also scale it down. If you want just email, you can do that. If you want sales and text messaging, you can add that on there. There's a lot of pieces that I think make sense as the company is growing and HubSpot can add into. But there's also really simple tools like Constant Contact and MailChimp and Squarespace email.
Yeah, we have
And
Squarespace right now.
And as great of a tool it is, we're a developing house for Squarespace, but we use HubSpot for our CRM because there's a lot of capabilities and elements and just tie them together. The biggest thing is what tool are you going to use and why are you going to use it? Because I'm working with a company right now out of New York, and they brought me in to cut 80% of their software. So we signed up for everything, and now we don't know what to do.
Right. It gets
So,
overwhelming.
absolutely. You're marketing to all the time with these things that are going to save you 10 minutes. And the biggest thing is, can you provide justification for why you're using the tool and where does it fit in your actual, in your case, marketing roadmap? Do you have a marketing roadmap? If not, it's probably where you want to start before you buy anything.
Right.
Yeah, I think HubSpot is a very capable tool for those things.
Have you ever heard of Levitate?
No.
Okay.
What kind of tools is it?
Well, they seem to have everything,
Oh,
like everything, just like what you're talking about.
interesting. I'll check it out.
But, well, they've been calling us. They want us to levitate with them. But they have like, the AI is incorporated into it, text messaging, and,
Oh, yeah.
it's different. So I'm going to have our staff take a look at it on Monday, I think.
Yeah. There's a ton of new tools coming to market.
I know.
One of my biggest
It-
concerns is the financial outlook for these companies. Because just as fast as they're starting, they're closing.
Yeah.
It's about the same clip. So that's why I've been kind of rallying around more trusted brands that I think are going to have more standing in the market. So.
Well, just to further your conversation about lead generation, in my field, I haven't really found that there is an AI software to generate leads necessarily. I just found that AI tools really help to organize and categorize and automate touch points for your leads. Like for me, for instance, we are manufacturing, so trade shows are our biggest lead generation. Getting leads from those face-to-face visits and things are our best. For something like you, which is event, you said events.
We do a lot of music events where we have ticket sales.
Yeah.
And we also work at the chamber.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah,
So of
I mean,
course,
I would just do like,
yeah, they market.
like inbound, like advertising is probably not best for you, but I haven't noticed any AI tools for that kind of thing.
I don't think there's any AI solution for lead generation other than you taking the leads at the trade show and putting them into some type of drip campaign or something,
Right.
an automated workflow that you already have established. But for lead generation, in terms of earning that new business, you can build a lot of the pieces that'll make that happen from a manual sales process that might make that easier. But I don't think there's anything in the marketplace that'll help with the lead, like, specifically with cold lead generation.
Yeah.
There's voice chat.
Yeah, I would.
That you can set it up to do outbound calls.
As a matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned that because I saw a demo 2 days ago for it's a company called AI, and they do just that.
Yeah.
I
I saw
don't
that
see
too, it
this
was a
ad as
different
well.
company. So you
But
said
Apple's
Air.
Vision?
Apple Vision got it.
Yes, I saw that too.
Yep. And I went to their website and I clicked through it and I was like, this is never going to work. This guy laughs like a psychopath.
Oh, see, I went through a demo and I thought it was pretty decent, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I've had experiences,
I
I
never
used
saw
to
this
sell
ad.
it, where it was, chat AI, where it was, like a widget that you put on your website or on your social media.
Yeah.
And, those can be very effective too, like when you chat with someone. The thing is, if you got a chat bot, it operates 24/7. You're not employing people. It can operate. And if it's a true AI application, it gets better over time.
Yeah. And it's interesting too because then it gets to the discussion of how are you driving traffic to the chatbot to engage in those conversations.
Right.
And that's where that cold element of the AI I think is still missing. Do you have something, Joe?
Oh, yeah, no, I had the same, I had an experience with that same company, and it's funny because we got disconnected, and literally, and it was like a different number, but they knew my number, and they kept calling, they called from one number and kept calling from another number now within my area code, right? I mean, 15 times, no kidding, and I got on another call, and I'm like, oh my god, they won't stop, and I don't know if it was a glitch, or if they figured eventually I'd pick up, or, it was a little crazy, so they have some bugs to work out, I think.
Yeah. So JJ is a collaborator on this event. Anything to add on the AI side?
That's a great question. I know that you covered quite a bit. I was gonna say, I have seen something very similar to what you brought up, Joel, very recently. So I'm just kind of amazed with where technology is actually leading to, and just AI can be such a pivotal tool in actually helping you to market your business, develop content, and actually grow in certain ways that you never anticipated before. I'm trying to think, I know you covered quite a bit.
I don't know if there's anything else you might use at Lake House that might be helpful.
Yeah. At Lake House, I'm just helping entrepreneurs just try and get their business together. It's definitely a helpful tool when it comes to just generating verbiage, also thinking of strategics and just even SEO keywords that you can even cross reference with other people's SEO. Because I know that's something we specialize in as more SEO development to help drive your website to actually get on the top rankings of Google, as well as just your visibility, which is such a big thing. And I see so many companies nowadays that still don't even use SEO. And actually there's a gentleman the other day that I was talking to, it's just yeah, we're selling the 10th page of Google. I'm just do you use SEO? What's that? It's just okay, well, how do we develop that? Well, here's this thing called ChatGPT, and there's some other platforms you can use too, where not only can you use it as a nice beneficial tool to help generate some SEO keywords, but also if you look at competitors too, you kind of cross-reference to see what are they using and what kind of lists, did ChatGPT put together to where it may be beneficial for you to actually plug in and use.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, JJ.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions?